yesterday. I'm going to post-mortem on the election. We'll take some time to sit. Andy Hundhausen for president. Congratulations. And Lisa Gallio, of course, she had a bit of a skate. Very good. Congratulations, Lisa. Anybody else? Any other successful candidates there? Any unsuccessful candidates? Smart one. All right. Well, maybe you noticed this table, but that caught my eye as I walked in. Dean Bauman set this thing up, or somebody here did. It's a gratitude chain. So you can take a pen, a little strip of paper, write down something you're grateful for, and staple it to all the other gratitude chains. Or all the other links in the chain. Kind of neat, Sandy. Very, very cool. So you got a flyer there. Research shows that gratitude has a multitude of benefits on our mental health and well-being. Psychologically, it is associated with greater optimism, happiness, alertness, and overall positivity. Socially, it is associated with more helpful, generous, and compassionate behavior, a tendency to be more forgiving, diminished feelings of isolation and loneliness, and both building and maintaining better relationships. So, I'm sure we've all got lots to be grateful for. Sandy, I assume it would be fine if, yeah, so.
Please do, yeah.
Yeah, please, fill out something there sometime today. As we come or go. What else is going on here? There's a birthday girl in the audience. Barbara Harris, turning 29 years old. Barb's a great gentle lady of Helena, long career at Office of Public Instruction and leadership in the League of Women Voters. Happy birthday, Barb. What do you think?
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Barbara. Happy birthday to you.
You want to say anything? Or reflect on your 29 years? Well, you're young at heart. All right. Danny, what's up?
Well, now that the election's over, we can get back to some serious things. There's a couple things about the government does that really bothers me. Is like, why do you put an expiration date on sour cream if it's already went bad? And I'd sure like to know what they're doing with all that time they've been saving.
Yeah.
We should put in a suggestion that we could get a few days of some hot, sunny weather. I don't know where Peter is, but we don't need any more snow days. But with that snow in the high country, I bet old hip shot and ricochet are ready to plan their old elk outing.
Very good, man. I see Wes Weisbeck. Wes, good run.
Thank you.
Good run. Thanks for throwing your hat into the ring and stay involved. Really, Wesley, thanks for coming this morning. Anybody here for the first time? Any introductions? Anybody like to introduce themselves? Or there's a gentleman there, Andy, right in back of you with a banana.
No, it's all right. I'll figure it out.
Hold the banana close to your
I'll snack for myself. I'm Zeke. I moved here a few months ago. I work at Montana Free Press, and I am so. That's so nice. Thank you all. Yeah, I do some political coverage, and I'm super excited to be coming to these, mostly because I like living here, and I'm super excited to just get to know the community better after being here for a little bit. So nice to meet you all. Looking forward to staying.
Well, welcome, Zeke. Yeah. Very good. And come anytime. Please. Oh, there's Eric there. Speaking of the free press, I kind of call Eric, I tease him a little bit. Question boy. Eric keeps us on our toes. Welcome, Eric. Anything else? Any intros? Got some distinguished guests, and we're going to get rolling here shortly. Don't be shy. Tim, looks like you got something. You got some paper in here.
I do. I don't. Here, I'll come up here so you can see me online as well, or on the internet later. Jim, I'm very sorry. The turkey suit is being laundered.
Oh no!
Currently, so I was not able to wear the turkey suit today. So apologies for that. We're still going to talk about the turkey challenge. I'm happy to be here with the folks from the library today. So it's that time of year again for Holiday Meal Share and Turkey Challenge. The first and most important thing is if people need assistance with holiday meals this year, they can sign up online right now at Helena Food Share. Those distribution days are the 24th and 25th of this month. We are distributing in the pantry now, in the market. I'm getting used to saying that. It's a market, not just a pantry anymore. So we are distributing in the market. People come and shop and get to choose what they want. If they're not a huge fan of green beans, they can get some more cranberries. So the choice shopping is important there. So the Turkey Challenge will be Friday the 22nd from 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. at the Lewis and Clark Library. We have seen about a 10 to 15% increase in shoppers coming into the market since we opened, and we anticipate that to transfer over to the holiday meal program this year. So we're looking to get 2,800 holiday meals, which is up about 300 from last year. A little over that, like close to 10 to 15% increase, just to make sure that everyone of our neighbors in need has what they need for the holidays. So you can drop off, so I was going to say frozen turkeys or turkey breasts. We'll take a turkey breast this year. It's nice to make sure those smaller households have the amount they need and not too much, and we make sure that everyone gets what they need. You can drop those donations off at the library along with monetary donations or food drive items. You can make monetary donations online at Helena Food Share. $25 buys a turkey this year, $35 buys all the sides and everything else. So $60 will buy a meal for a whole family this year. Sorry, I've got a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm trying to be as fast as I can. I'm sorry.
You're doing great.
I'm sorry, I'm keeping as close to my lips as possible. And we're grateful for the partnership with the Lewis and Clark Library, Cochran Insurance, who will match a $10,000 gift this year. Again, Big Sky Acoustics, KTVH, Montana Radio Company. If your business or community group wants to fundraise or challenge another group to fundraise this year, we have a real simple giving page we can set you up with, so you can make donations through Helena Food Share, and we can help do a lot of that work for you. We're still looking for some hourly match sponsors, if any businesses are interested in doing that. Again, we have SoFi and Hint, who this year turns themselves again into the Helena Independent Network of Turkeys, challenging each other. And afterwards, Blackfoot Brewery is going to do a give back. That's going to be from 12 to 8 p.m., but join us after the Turkey Challenge at Blackfoot Brewing. And that $1 from each beer will go to that total added fundraising goal that we're looking for. And I say this, I think, every year, but there's one thing that, this thing's heavy sometimes, man.
7 in the morning.
I know. One of our philosophy statements is by sharing food, we share hope. And I think this time of year, that is very, very true. It's sort of gives people the promise of a nice, happy holiday season and a healthy new year as we end up the year and head into next year. So we thank you for all your support over the years and hope we can meet this 2,800 holiday meal goal for all of our families in Helena who need support. Thank you.
We will. That's it. Helena Independent Network of Turkeys. Get a hint. Take a hint. Get it? It's early. Yeah, it's cold. Early. Ross, what's happening?
Two events that are coming up this week. Is anybody from the Holter here? I don't want to steal their fire. But anyway, opening tomorrow is the Ho 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 Holter Art Show, and that is showing off Helena artists, and their art will be for sale, and if anybody buys a piece of that art, the proceeds are split between the holder and the artist. And opening tonight is the Last Chance New Play Festival, and this is the 11th year of that festival, and it is a way for Montana writers to get their work shown. These are all early works, either written by independent groups that put their own shows on them, or there's also a group of 10-minute plays that are produced by the fest itself. And those were written specifically for the fest. The theme this year was Future Present Tense.
I think
Oh, wait, and I've just been asked to remind you that the Art Walk is this weekend, and so the Holter event kind of kicks off the Art Walk, and that's going, the Holter has their artists intro from 4 to 6, and I think like right after that, and then the Art Walk kicks off at 5 o'clock or something like that, so.
very good. Big weekend coming up. Thank you, Ross. Sheriff.
Morning, Jim.
Yes, sir.
Just loud enough. I want to make sure that I use my command voice. So I want you to invite you down to the Lewis and Clark County Fairgrounds for the Special Olympics basketball tournament. Please come down, lend a hand, watch, and support your Special Olympic athletes. Tonight, I'll be walking in with a Special Olympic athlete to light the flame of hope. I'll be the one wearing the uniform, so there's no confusion. So please come down. It's a great time, and the athletes love to see you there. There's a lot going on in Helena. On a sober note, when I fill out something over there, I'm going to fill out something that I'm thankful for, is that I'm not going to a law enforcement funeral. I'm sorry that there was a death, but we are called to do a job to stand between you all and what can be chaos. So there was a Helena policeman that was stabbed, and he did not die. He was treated and released, but it was close. So every day, the men and women go out and work for you. So that's one thing that I'm thankful for, and I'll say that again at Thanksgiving. So thank you, and thank you for giving us our job. Come down on Friday.
Amen. Let's see, our superintendent of schools, Rex Welch, is with us, and Rex, you got a little hot potato going on. I mean, elections, levies have consequences, right? Yeah, I do. Tell us about it.
Can you invite me when I have good news to share?
Yes.
Golly. I agree, Sheriff Doug, is that Special Olympics, closer? I would say this Special Olympics is one, if you get a chance, get down to see Special Olympics. If you want to warm your heart, it's absolutely amazing. I used to participate in the summer or the track and field down at the University of Montana. It is absolutely something that you all should see. So, in the news, we've heard a little bit about our winter programming. First of all, I'd like to thank IR and Phil Drake and his team. They did a nice job of covering what that looked like this week and then last week. Unfortunately, and I would say that we want this to be temporary, but we made the choice, the conscious choice, to not have our winter programs this year, again, in the hopes that we'll bring it back. And I know that's really controversial and it's a sore subject, but we've been in the middle of reducing our budget for 2 years. This is the first time that we really have seen this affect our parents, because we took Great York offline, we moved those programs into another building. We've comboed class up, or we increased class size. But to have where we had 8 music teachers in the elementary, we needed to carve out nearly $1 million in that budget, so that was staff. When we went through a budget consensus committee, the recommendation to the board was elimination of music and PE in elementary, and I couldn't stand for that. Our goal was to slow down programs, not eliminate them, because I do believe if you eliminate programs, they don't come back. They're really hard to build. So I really wanted to just slow them down, make our budget effective, where we can manage it, and then build it back up with the hopes that it may be a levy, or more importantly, that our state can help out in this legislation session. So we really want to bring them back, and I apologize. I know it's tough. I have 3 kids, loved it. Well, actually, 2 kids loved it. One would thank God we don't have to go to that concert. But I enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed having our kids part of it, part of our community connection. Having our parents go into our elementary schools and see their kids perform, that's important to us. So we don't want them to die. We want them to come back, and so we'll work really hard for this next session, and then work on our budget so that we can bring back our staff. Again, we had 8, we reduced down to 5. The TV station did an interview with me the other day, and they reported that we reduced it down to 3. We didn't eliminate 5, we eliminated 3 positions in the elementary, and it's really difficult. So if Barbara, the birthday girl here, is if she was going to be an elementary teacher, and she was moving through the district, we used to see 1 school per teacher, or 1.5, we moved them. But now some of our music teachers are seeing 3 and 4 different buildings. It's really difficult for them to produce a program when you see so many kids. And so that's where we're at. Unfortunately, it's what we needed to do. We got to balance our budget, and that's just one of those steps. On a more surreal note, this Tuesday we have the celebration of life of Jack Cox, a longtime Helena resident, but more importantly, he's been a superintendent and a mentor to me and many of us that followed his footsteps. So Tuesday up at Central Elementary, he really wanted to have his celebration in a school, and so we're going to do that at Central Elementary Tuesday, starting about 3:30. And so just take a moment to thank him. He's an amazing lion in education. We'll miss him, and just a good human. So thanks for your time.
Central School is a testament to Jack's work here in this community, isn't it? Oh, very good, very good. So remember all this next time there's a levy coming around. I've been going to those school concerts forever. Anyway,
It's tough.
it's tough. Senator Dunwell, how you doing?
Good morning, good morning.
to see
And
you.
next week we'll be singing happy birthday to Jim.
Oh,
Next Friday is his birthday. But we have a couple other November birthdays here too. So.
Scorpio.
Scorpios. I'm a Sagittarius, 22nd, so the next week. Anywho, I just want to take a moment and thank all the candidates who ran in Tuesday's election. Whether you won or lose, congratulations, because if you came in second, you still win because you had the opportunity to share your thoughts with community members, go door to door, connect with one another in this era of polarization. That's huge. And to the victors, congratulations, Andy. Andy and I had an opportunity yesterday to find some peace and tour we got a sneak preview of the new Prickly Pear Land Trust, EPA, Montana Environmental Trust Group park. It's called Prickly Pear Park. It's going to open officially to the public. And I do hear people are sneaking in and fishing. And there's a beautiful ADA accessible trail, 10 feet wide, and crushed gravel, just wonderful. Reclaimed, restored. All the environmental scientists over the past 20 years put nature back in its place. And it's right where the Esarco smelter was, that whole area. The trail itself is 2 or 2.5 miles around. It's a big loop. And they also going to put a little cottonwood tree grove pathway for kids in there to explore. And it's lovely. And the last evening we had a presentation from some of the housing developers who are coming in from Habitat for Humanity. They're putting in a big affordable development, as you know, called Rose Hills. There's an backstory to that, but I won't burden you with that at this point. And mixed income with pocket parks, and it'll be lovely. And then on the other side of Prickly Pear Park, that's on the west side of Prickly Pear Park. The other side a developer, Oakland developer, is coming in and putting in, starting in 27, so 2 years from now, 2,000 single-family homes and multifamily housing, apartments. And I asked him how affordable are these going to be, and it's going to be for workforce housing. So I started answering the question directly, but workforce housing. So I should have mentioned that, well, the wages here for the workforce are what they are in other states. However, one battle after another. Thank you for your time, Jim.
Oh, no, thank you, Senator. You got your work cut out for you. The new school funding formula, among other things. And Rex had a great article about that very subject. Very, thank you. That was educational. Mary, hey.
Good morning, everyone. Mary Rutherford with the Montana Community Foundation. Quick reminder that next Tuesday is Giving Tuesday. So throughout the year, we have a lot of organizations who come to Hometown Helena and tell us about the great work they're doing. Tuesday is a great day in our country and here in our community where we can all come together and give to something that matters to us. So I just encourage you to think about your charitable giving next Tuesday. Just kind of separately, one of the roles that we play at the Montana Community Foundation is helping families who want to come together and create their own kind of family foundation. Not quite the same with the Donor Advised Fund, but we were stunned last quarter at the Montana Community Foundation when those families granted out $1.2 million from their funds to causes across Montana. And about 150,000 of those grants went right here to Helena causes. So, I think a lot of this kind of incredible generosity gets lost in the political season, but I would just say people care about what's happening in our town and they're showing it with their resources, so thanks.
Very good. Thanks for the reminder, Mary. Emily, got some good news here.
I'm Emily McVeigh with United Way. We are the collectors of the coffee money through the Venmo account. So if you come here, we do ask that people chip in for the coffee that Helena College helps, get you going in the morning. It does cost them money to put that on, and they do have to break even at least to help have us here on Thursday mornings. So every 4 months I write a check out of that Venmo account back to the Helena College. So this last 4 months check is for $535, and I'll give that to Sandy today. So hopefully we're doing our part and covering our costs here. So she'll let us know if we need to chip in more.
All right. Good work, team. Yeah, got to keep the legislative auditor at bay, right, Sandy? Wow, well, that's great. Yeah, thank you. Let's see. We got some guests here, and I know Todd O'Hare's got to be on the road, and Mary Craigle's probably got to be up at the state. They're going to talk to us about the Tech Hub, and it's all new to me. I'm sure it's going to be new to some of us here. Todd is the Executive Director of the Montana Chamber of Commerce, and Mary is at the State Department of Commerce. And they're our guests here this morning, courtesy of Tom McGree, who may be on the Zoom. So without further ado, Mary, you going to tell us more, or Todd's going to start off? All right.
He has the high level, I know the details.
Yeah, Mary did all the work on this, and so Mary will be able to get into some of the details. I've got just a handful of slides that will assist, I think, with kind of the visual representation. Can you all hear me fine enough? Hold the mic up. All right. How's that? Getting better? All right. You just holler at me if I start to drift off here. Let's go to the next slide here. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Headwaters Tech Hub and how that relates to Montana. But even more importantly, is like how that's going to fit in the national and the
global scheme here. So let's go to the next slide. So the Headwaters Tech Hub is a result of funding that came through the CHIPS and Science Act of 2022. And the CHIPS and Science Act was one of those bills that went through Congress that had great bipartisan support. And the idea behind the CHIPS and Science Act was this recognition, largely as a result of the 2020 COVID pandemic, that the era of outsourcing to other countries to cheap labor came home to roost and to cost us in major ways. And that was in semiconductors, garage door openers, a whole host of technology was outsourced for years. And then we ran into 2020 and all of a sudden we couldn't get some of the things that we needed to keep our economy going and to keep our people safe. And so this CHIPS and Science Act largely had major themes associated with these tech hubs. And you can see what the themes are, and there's a whole host of them there. And I'm going to focus on just a couple of them that we decided to focus on. So the first one is safe and effective autonomous systems. And so you think about, and this is good, this is a major movement around the world. And so when you think about autonomous systems, think about driverless vehicles, think about the technology that is required, that is in your automobile. If you've got those cars that have the automatic cruise control that keeps you from slamming into the car in front of you, that's all related to sensors and that sort of technology. So, safe and effective autonomous systems. Quantum computing. Now, I am not going to even attempt to try to explain quantum computing. I will tell you the extent that I understand it. And quantum computing is the next step, the next era of super fast computing. And essentially what it is it's computing that's being done at supercritical, below zero sort of temperatures. Like, think about liquid nitrogen sort of temperatures. And what they discovered is that computing takes place at super fast speeds at these supercritical low temperatures. And the United States is near the top globally as far as quantum computing, but a big competitor is in China, right? And so this is the next step in technology, is quantum computing. And then the next one that you'll see on there is strengthening our critical mineral supply chain. And so those are largely what we decided to focus on here in Montana, because we have in this state a leading edge in those three that I just identified. Quantum computing, Bozeman, Montana is recognized globally as a quantum computing leader, which, who knew? Who knew? And it's a relatively small but very growing and huge opportunity for us to be able to grow. On the safe and effective autonomous systems, Bozeman, largely Bozeman, but it's along kind of the western front, but largely Bozeman, there is a hub, if you will, of sensors and photonics. Who knew? Globally recognized as a leader in photonics and sensors, operating largely there in Bozeman. And then when you talk about critical minerals, think about like our traditional sort of natural resource opportunities that we have here. And when you think about critical minerals are increasingly necessary for things like our transition to a renewable energy economy. They're increasingly important for all of the technology that is going to be necessary as we go forward. China today has the lion's share of both the critical mineral mining and the processing. And the United States is woefully behind, particularly in the processing. The processing of these critical minerals is really complicated, very sophisticated, and requires certain sort of technology. And we are woefully behind in the critical mineral supply. So let's go to the next slide. So in March of 2023, the CHIPS and Science Act It was passed in 2022. It had this component around technology hubs that were designed to supercharge and juice up technology advancement in the United States. And so the Montana Chamber of Commerce, Montana Department of Commerce, the university system, and the Montana Photonics and Quantum Alliance, which is based in Bozeman, got together and we worked on applying for this federal designation to make Montana and our region a technology hub, particularly in the photonics and the sensors arena. And so this designation mandated through a congressional intent that the work in this area needed to be business-led. This was not your typical run-of-the-mill grant to a university or to a college to explore some sort of moonshot. This was designed to, like, how do we raise the bar incrementally in commercial advancement of technology? Now let me give you a quick example of how this can be advanced in the commercial field so that you can kind of get your head around this. And this, I work best on examples. So, John Deere. Let's flip to the next slide. That wasn't the slide. John Deere is, well, let me touch on this here and then we'll go to the slide that has the John Deere. So, we applied for this designation through the federal government. We were one of 12 around the country that was designated. Out of 278 applications, right? Wow. So we had great support from our congressional delegation, and we put together, and Mary's going to be able to talk to you a little bit more about the detail because she's the nuts and bolts person here. Mary Craig led the effort for the state of Montana in writing this grant. So, next slide. This, what the heck?
That's the 12.
It's
That's the 12 hub designations around the country in a variety of sort of areas. What I think is really great is that if you look east of the Mississippi, you can see most of the designations went east of the Mississippi. There's Montana.
And in metro areas, so.
Right, so we're in a rural state, rural part of the country. We were one of those 12 designations. Most of them went east of the Mississippi. Next slide. Dear God. It's not on that slide deck for some reason, so I apologize for that. But what I want to do is I want to give you an example. I want to give you an example of photonics in a real-life way so that you can understand where we're going with this technology and where the business community wants to see this go. So, imagine this. John Deere is a big part of this technology hub from a business front. This is where they see advancement. So imagine this. A sprayer on a John Deere tractor that you pull behind the tractor that is able to identify the difference between a weed and a crop and microdose the precise amount of herbicide to the weed and microdose exactly the precise amount of fertilizer to the crop while driving 15 miles an hour on a hot, dusty field. Incredible. Incredible. And we're not far from it, which is, I think, the real amazing part about it. This is not like moonshot sort of desires. John Deere already has this technology to be able to do a certain amount of this. They're struggling to be able to take it to this next level where they want to go. And so this technology hub, this Headwaters Technology Hub, is designed and intended for John Deere to be at the table with the university system saying, this is how far we've brought this technology. Can you take us to the next level? Right? And so that's what is designed for. So you can imagine that in any sort of application. You can imagine the applications to this from a national security standpoint. Right? And so the applications for this is amazing. Now, I cannot overstate the importance that this designation is to Montana. We are already globally recognized as a leader globally in sensors and photonics in Bozeman, Montana. This designation from the federal government sends a signal to the rest of the world that the United States government has placed their full faith and credit in Montana in this advancing technology. And we're already seeing companies from around the world that are looking at Montana and saying, how do we open up a branch here? How do we move our sensors and our photonics or our quantum-related business to Montana? Because the United States government has put its full faith and credit in the state, and they're funding it, and the work and activity around those sort of technologies is going to be happening right here in our state. And so we're already fielding those sort of companies that are wanting to be in our state, to be close to this sort of activity. So now we spitballed what this could mean to the state of Montana. Over the course of 10 years, we worked with the Montana Department of Commerce to come up with these numbers. They're not super scientific.
They are.
But they're legitimate. Over the course of 10 years, we believe this has the opportunity to generate $10 billion in activity. Create 1,000 new companies, and not new companies, but 1,000 companies that will be interested in actively working in the state of Montana, both in new companies that are entrepreneurs and existing companies that are wanting to open up a branch or to have a presence here because of what's going on, and 10,000 jobs. So the significance to the state of Montana is huge. Now, what I want to take just one quick second here and point out is that we all read about Bozeman and all the sort of challenge that Bozeman has as a result of the growth that that area is having, and it's spilling out along the western part of the state. What's beautiful about some of this is that we're seeing companies that are looking at Montana saying we want to have our research and our development activity in a place like Bozeman, but we're looking at other places that we might put in our manufacturing facility. And that's where the entire state of Montana will also benefit from that. East Helena would be an example. But like that area is kind of a high rent district. These companies are looking, it's like, how do we also like look at sort of manufacturing and other activity that is outside those high rent districts? And so this is where I think there's a huge opportunity for Montana in the manufacturing space with some of these sort of companies. So I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to turn this over to Mary Craig, so she can give you some details, and we'll try to see if we can wrap this up in a way so that you've got questions. We can attempt to answer it. So, Mary?
Thanks, Mike. When I started this project, I was as tall as Todd. Good morning, all. Thank you for having me here today. This project has been pretty remarkable. I think the most remarkable thing about it was by the end of the project, as Todd mentioned, we started in February of 2023. By the end of the project, when we submitted our application in February of 24, we had 220 companies involved, or organizations. So that spread across the entire state, but also spilled into our neighbors, North Dakota, through the MSF engines that the university system gets. So if you think about the ability for government to work hand in hand with the colleges, to work hand in hand with industry, and nobody fell off the bus, I think that's something that we can all incredibly be proud of. And that would not happen if it wasn't for a rural state like Montana, because that's how we work. We work together to get things done. So since we received the designation, that meant $41 million came to the state. The $41 million is spread across 5 projects. The big project that you care probably the most about are the photonics prototyping center that will be built in Bozeman. What the heck is that, Mary? So think a computer chip, and think about those sensors that Todd was talking about that can differentiate a weed from the crops, and sticking that sensor on that computer chip. So right now the problem is, so think drone technology. So right now the problem is most of those drones, they're too big for many of the things that they really want them to be able to do, and that's because of the weight and the power requirements. So they require a big amount of power. So what this prototyping facility will do is figure out how to make that as small as possible. And the way you do that, believe it or not, is with quantum computing, where you can actually use little tiny atoms at a very low temperature to do the computing for you. So instead of needing a big power device like we do now, so think, if you look at your drone, or if your kids have a drone, they have a big power supply on it, you have a big power supply on your phone. Think about taking that and making it into a size smaller than your thumbnail. And that's what quantum computing in that center in Bozeman is going to do. The other big project that was funded were the test beds. So as we develop the technology and apply it, nobody buys a sensor, nobody buys a laser, but they buy the product that has the sensor, they buy the equipment that has the sensor. They need a place to test it. And so the second project that was funded, one of the other projects that was funded, is test beds. And those test beds allow you to test out that equipment. We have an ag test bed. So think, like Todd said, that sprayer. That sprayer is smart enough, by the way, that tractor is running that sprayer with no one in it. And if it starts to hail, it drags itself into the barn so it doesn't get damaged. Yeah, it's amazing. Think rugged terrain, so going up mountains, particularly places that we can't go. So Limerick Forest in Missoula is a test bed for those sensors. Again, autonomously running up and down that mountain, looking for pine beetles, looking for forest fires, checking to make sure there's no landslides and things going on. Think on-off highway. So in the very near future, you will see highway equipment, nobody on it, pavers running, doing all the paving, etc., without anybody needing to be there other than to make sure things are running correctly. I will talk about the job impact in a minute. And then also think national defense. So do we have any Guard members here? National Guard members? Do we have any spouses of National Guard? Oh, look, there's Emily. So right now I'm working with Fort Harrison to put a cold chamber. So remember we were talking about quantum and cold. To put a chamber here at Fort Harrison, which is kind of upstream from the tech hub, so we can do further testing of these sensors at super low temperatures. That fits right in with what the National Guard's mission here is in Montana, which is about cold weather resiliency. And so we were able to take this tech hub designation and put a project that's underway here in Helena. The communities around the tech hub had to be between Bozeman all the way to Kalispell. There's a really long story about it. It had to do with metropolitan areas. That was the way it had to be designated. But the good news is we've already started, like Todd said, seeing the spin-off into all these other places. So the two major projects to keep watching for are the the new prototyping facility in Bozeman, and the test bed facility, which is various locations around the state. We also got money for a tribal college program to educate workforce. That's through our Salish Kootenai College outside of Kalispell, and so that's fantastic. They will be working on STEM. Everybody know what STEM is? Okay. To figure out how to make better pathways into specifically the photonics field to fill that workforce side. And then the MSU also got money towards a new four-year degree in photonics specifically. There is no four-year degree right now currently in the U.S. In specifically photonics. Bozeman is way ahead of everybody else. I don't know how many of you guys know this, but there's actually 46 photonics companies already in Bozeman. At Commerce, we're now reporting probably a dozen more, as Todd mentioned, so it's going to be a big deal. But because I was in charge in some ways, I wanted to make sure that it just didn't benefit Los Angeles, that it actually spread across the whole state. And so we have done a really, really great job with our partner, the Montana Chamber, and our partner, the Montana University System, of moving things around. So we have activity going on in Bozeman. We have activity going on in Billings. We have activity going on in Missoula. We have activity going on in Butte. We have activity going on in Helena, and we will continue to expand that. One of the big concerns is jobs, right? So what do we do about if we're replacing these people with some of these jobs with sensors? What do we do? Well, one of the main things we're doing is working on how do we transition those jobs into maintenance and repair jobs? How do we transition those jobs into coding jobs to actually tell these sensors what to do? How do we transition these jobs into the next generation of, okay, now we've got this new thing that can do this new sensor, what opportunities does that open up for us? I run a really quiet little program at the Montana Department of Commerce called the Industry Development Program. Right now we have about $7.4 billion that we're managing in projects. This project, again, as I mentioned, is about $41 million, but there's a lot of other things going on. We keep it really quiet because we don't want to stand in front of the legislature and they don't want to hear from me. And so well, some of them do. Mary Ann likes to see me. But it's really boring stuff, but the good news is it's really great for the economy of Montana and for Helena, and we'll make sure it stays that way. Thanks for having us.
Amazing. Mary and Todd, thank you. I think we better keep rolling. If you'd like to learn more about this, I'd suggest the Lewis and Clark County Library, which is probably the most welcoming environment in the whole town of Helena. So the time slips away from us every week like this, but John Finn is with us. John, come on up. And Evans? Emmett. One. All right, one in. One. Anyway.
Who gets the mic? There you go. Good morning, everybody. It's been a long time since I've been here. It's good to see everybody. I could talk for an hour about the importance of libraries and what libraries mean to America right now, but I'm going to cut it short because I have two awesome rock star staff members with me today. Amanda Burkhart, who is our marketing coordinator, and Evan Rogers, who is our teen services librarian. We just finished our core principles work, and one of our core principles is we believe in the power of libraries. Amanda is new to the library just in the last year, and she's already taken the Kool-Aid in, and I hear that she's thinking about going to get a master's in library science already, which is pretty cool. That's how important libraries are. When you come to work at a library, you feel it. You know that the work we're doing is important for everybody in the community. We are the community's living room, especially after the remodel. It is a very comfortable place, very welcoming, and I'm going to turn it over to these guys because they know what's going on.
Wipe that off a little bit. Thank you. Last week I realized I had to have my lips on the mic, which meant all of you got to know me a lot more than you maybe wanted to if you spoke after me. We're just going to talk a little bit about some of the highlights. We have a lot of stuff going on. As John mentioned, on certain times people want to have a place that is comfortable, that feels like home. And especially if you're somebody who doesn't have a home situation that is maybe comfortable or that feels like people accept you, that is what the library is meant to be for anybody who walks through the doors. So let's go to the next slide. So our mission statement, Lewis and Clark Library fosters a spirit of exploration, joy of reading, the pursuit of knowledge for our community, and what that translates to is if you need a community, you don't have one at your house, you do have one at your house, you don't have one at your school or your work, you do have one at your school or work, you don't have a lot of opportunity to see outside your little bubble, that's what the library is meant to be for you. Regine Sims Bishop's brilliant librarian, I'm going to talk about her at Great Conversations coming up if you're going to go to that, said that the library, the collection is meant to encompass windows, mirrors, and sliding glass doors. You're supposed to be able to see yourself. You're supposed to be able to see into another world. And you're supposed to be able to, if you want to, have the opportunity to step from your world into another world. And maybe see some more opportunity there. The S fell off, sorry. So we have a whole bunch of programs, and what we've seen over the last couple of years is that people are looking for that place to call home. They're looking for that community. Our programs have grown an enormous amount. So our children's programming, I want to say that a year ago in summer, we had, next slide. Yeah, this is our story time graph. So the green bars are how many story times we put on during the year, and the line is how many people are coming to those story times. So even if we keep on dropping pennies into that well, it is never going to be full, which is honestly a wonderful problem to have. But we're reimagining the way we do programs because so many more people want to get in the door. And when you have a story time of 76 people in that room, you have to figure out some new solutions. You have to open the doors for more people because, like I said, we want everybody to be able to walk in. It's hard to fit all of Helena and East Helena in the library, though. For the teen programs, this is like a this is my job. This is a transitional time of life. What you're doing is you're taking your focus from your home group, your family, and you're putting it on all of your friends, right? They don't care what you think anymore. If you're the parent of a teen, you probably know that they have stopped looking at you the same way and they've started looking at their friends. If they don't have friends, or they don't know how to make those, and that is a big problem nowadays, right? It's easy to get stuck on your phone. It's so easy, even for adults. And if that is the only network you have, the only option you have, that's not really a full relationship. You don't know how to build relationships at that point. So my job is to give people a place where they can come and find that community, find those relationships, and it's okay if it's not your grown-ups. Slowly we're going to move away from your grown-ups, and you're going to start being interested in other people. And the secret part of my job is I have to get the grown-ups used to that too. For adults, we have, I don't know if you guys have realized this, I moved from the Seattle area. My library in the Seattle area could not bring the kind of big name authors that our adult services librarian Suzanne brings all the time. Upcoming, we have CJ Box coming to speak in Helena. We had Jacqueline Winspear. We had Kristen Hanna, although Kristen Hanna was with the Montana Book Company. But we don't get these kinds of opportunities, even like in a big city area. So Suzanne does amazing work making sure that we have the chance to step through that door into another world, like a literary world that I've never had access to before. So part of that is the big read. We've gotten that grant every year since 18 years in a row. We've gotten the big read grant, which is a community read. We pick a book. We try to bring the author in person so that everybody can ask them questions, and everybody can read this book. It's a conversation that we can have as a whole community. Want to take the stats?
Just a couple of, just a couple of shocking stats, and I have to move closer because I can't see. So patrons through the door, I don't know if you can see that little number. Just last year, patrons through the door, 221,000. More than 221,000 people through the door. We have little scanners that just count the noses and see how many people come in and out of the library. System-wide, we had over 290,000 books checked out. So people wondered, do libraries still have a place? What are libraries doing? Do we still need that? We absolutely do. And Helena specifically is a very, very much into books and reading and big authors and getting in there and seeing those stories. So just wanted to share those. I wanted to talk just a little bit about our outreach. We have sort of our three versions of outreach. We have our book bike, which you might see at the farmer's market, places like that. Now we have a book van, and that's helping us reach a lot more places that really need our services, because there's some places that can't get the book bike to it, and the bookmobile is too big. So we bring the book van, and then we can do services like in the lobby of an assisted living home, for example. So we also go to schools, community visits, high needs areas, and we have two very exciting new stops that are just starting, and one is at the Helena Food Chair. We started with them, and now we're at their new location. So we're really excited to bring the bookmobile there. It's really seen as its own little library. You can tell us you want your holds to be on the bookmobile, so you're going to meet us at the food chair and you can get whatever book you want. We'll bring it to you. And then the other stop we're doing is the Helena Indian Alliance. And we're doing a lot of community partnership stuff with them, and it's got a really cool program for teens. They're doing Dungeons and Dragons and table talks where kids get to come together and play this game where they're role playing and they get to kind of experiment with who they want to be, and they have much deeper conversations than just about the game. And we're kind of partnering with them on that. Collections and services. Some of you, I hope all of you know these little logos, Hoopla and Libby. These are the places where if you have a library card, you can get audiobooks and ebooks for free. You don't necessarily need your Amazon, your Kindle. I think Libby, you can put them on your Kindle. But if you get a library card, you can use those services for nothing. So really expanding that access. Canopy is awesome TV shows and documentaries. Really, really cool. And did you know with your library card, you can access the New York Times for free and Consumer Reports for free. My oven just died, and I had to look up what should I get, and I never had Consumer Reports, steer me wrong. But it's so cool to be able to just log in, put in your number, and get it for free. We really recommend you go on the website. There's a little tab called Digital Library, and that's where you can find these links. And then you click on it, and instead of going to the Consumer Reports website directly, you go through there, and it'll ask for your library card number. And that's all you need.
Also, while we are really excited about having added this, and while there are so many people who tell me that they still Redbox and they still use their Audible accounts, I'm like, great, I love that. Get everything the every way that you can. The other resource that isn't going to be listed up here is that you have cost to go over something. The other day I had somebody come up and ask for 1950, the full text of the 1954 Popular Mechanics. Because there was an article in there that they wanted, and they couldn't remember what it was about, but it had a green circle, and they didn't remember who it was by, but it had a green circle. And within about 20 minutes, we had that article in front of them. So if there's something that you need that we don't have in our digital library, don't give up the moment you can't find it yourself. That's what we're here for. We're navigators for that.
Yeah, librarian. Facilities. So we wanted to talk just really briefly. I know this is
We are running out of space at the East Helena Library. East Helena is exploding, as everybody knows. We are in a 2,000 square foot facility right now in East Helena. We hope to be in an 11,000 square foot facility sometime before I retire. And the way we're doing that is we have formed a committee, a site committee, that's trying to find a building that we can renovate. We've exhausted all of those resources in East Helena. Now we're looking for a piece of land, a little over an acre, somewhere on the north side of the highway right now is preferable. We understand that the south side is going to be happening, but it's going to happen too slow for us. We need to do something quickly. So we're really looking for a place somewhere on the north side of the highway. We've had some leads, but if you know of any acre-ish parcels in East Helena, come and see me or talk to Andy Hunthausen, who is on our committee. We're desperate to find a place. We have the money to buy land and build a building. So let us know. We're ready to jump at something. It's very desperately needed at this point. And then just to close up, the Library Foundation, I don't know if you are donors to the Library Foundation, but these are the folks that provide the library with wish list items, things that we don't necessarily feel comfortable spending taxpayer money on. Pilot projects, we're not sure if this is going to work, but we would love to try. The foundation does that for us. The foundation is also raising funds for a new bookmobile. We are ready to purchase a brand new bookmobile. Our bookmobile is 12 years old, has a little over 100,000 miles at this point. It looks great, it still runs great, but we're just ready for it to break down at some point. and it still has resale value right now. So we're looking to buy something new within the next year. So look out for a new bookmobile sometime in the next year. Just to talk about our building in Helena, it is an adequate building right now, and the next library director will have to think about building a new building. We've outgrown that space. We can't expand that building, so the next library iteration will have to be a brand new building. But right now, it's sort of adequate, and I would say of the 290,000 people who visited last year, every one of them used the bathroom. We have the most heavily used public bathrooms in the city of Helena. We have 6 of them, single-use, family-style bathrooms, but they are used constantly, heavy use, and they're still holding strong after 3 years. I'm really proud of them. Proud of my
Just one quick last thing, because I know you guys all want to get going. I brought a whole bag of goodies. I'm just going to maybe set up shop right over here. We've got brochures. We've got the new card brochure, so it kind of takes you through everything you have access to if you come to the library. I've got stickers. So come visit me if you want to take some library swag home.
Wow. Thanks, Amanda. Amanda, where are you looking at graduate school?
I don't know yet.
Don't know yet. All right. I'm trying to ask intelligent questions as I used to. Mr. Finn, how long have you been the executive director there?
On my 9th year.
9th year. Wow. Yep. Well, you've done great. It's been great. I used to see you out there. Very good. Well, thank you. I'm grateful for the Lewis and Clark County Library. Somebody put that on screen. Very neat. Well, the hour goes quick, but I think we learned a lot, as we always do. So thanks very much for being here, stopping at the canteen on your way out, get some library swag, put a link in the chain of gratitude, and we'll see you next week. Thank you all.